Hello students, this is second class of our third chapter. Today we shall discuss drift of electrons. Okay. Before understanding what drift is, take a look at this figure. This figure shows how an electron randomly moves inside a material. This is a random fashion movement by an electron. Okay. Whenever no electric field is applied, and here is the external field applied. Okay. Then the question is, what happens after the electric field, that is external electric field, is applied? Okay. Of course, the electrons will tend to move in one direction. Okay. But this is not exactly the case. They do move in one direction, but not the moment external electric field is applied. Okay. So what happens actually? Here you look. A, that is acceleration. What is acceleration? Initially the electrons are moving. Suppose one electron, it is moving like this in random fashion. As soon as the electric field E is applied, that means we are applying an external force on that electron or not. Electric field acts as a force. So what is the amount of that force? That force is F is equal to QE. We already know this. Here Q is nothing but electronic charge. That's why you can write it as EE. Okay. Now acceleration is nothing but force by mass. Force is EE and mass is mass of the electron, and negative sign indicates that electronic charge is negative. Okay. Now this is acceleration. Initially forget it. Now consider this equation. V is equal to U minus EE by MET. Recall, in the kinematics you studied one equation, U plus AT. V is equal to U plus AT. V is the final velocity, U is initial velocity, A is the acceleration, T is time. Okay. Now what about this U? Okay. Finally, of course, one velocity will be there, but initially there was one velocity. Then what is that U? You can see here, the electron is randomly moving here and there. That means it is not having a definite U. Okay. In other words, you can say the value of U, that is initial velocity, that is average initial velocity, will be 0, because it is not having any definite magnitude nor any definite direction. That's why U is equal to 0 AT. Okay, V is equal to AT. Now V is equal to A, acceleration A is EE by ME, okay, minus EE by ME minus EE by ME into T. Okay, this is the velocity after electric field E is applied. Okay. Now suppose here you take a look. Suppose the electron moves from this point to this point, and then electric field is applied. As soon as this electric field is applied, it will start moving in this direction. It will be like this. Okay. But question is there totally free path for this electron to travel throughout the material? No. It will get collided. In whichever direction it goes, it will get collided with other molecules, atoms, whatever. That means the electron has to move in random collisions in between its path. Okay. Then suppose here is one collision, another collision, 3 collisions are there. That means you can see between 2 successive collisions electron moves freely. Okay, this time interval, that is average time interval, that suppose from here to here the electron takes let us suppose 5 seconds. Okay, and in between it suffers 3 collisions. Okay, so between 2 successive collisions there will be one time interval or not. It might not be same every time, but on an average there will be one value. What is that average value? 5 seconds divided by 1 2 3 4, so it will be 4. Okay, this is the average time for which the electron moves freely between 2 successive collisions. Okay, it is also called relaxation time. Relaxation in the sense, during this interval the electron moves freely. Okay, it does not suffer any obstruction. Okay, now that means whatever velocity it acquires, it can only move when it is moving between 2 successive collisions. Okay, so this t, what is the amount of t? T is nothing but time between 2 successive collisions. Since the velocity v is attained by the electron only when it moves between 2 successive collisions, that's why we can replace E by the relaxation time, which is denoted by tau. Got my point? Now this is the final expression of V. Okay. Now this V is independent of time factor here. You can see here, E is the electronic charge, E is electric field, applied electric field, tau is relaxation time, m is mass of electron. These are constants. This is also constant. Okay, for a material the relaxation time is constant because it is dependent on its structure, internal structure. Okay, so this velocity therefore is called drift velocity. Very important concept, drift velocity. Okay, always remember, drift velocity is the velocity of the electron after an external electric field is applied and the electron moves almost with a constant velocity. Okay, now the next topic is mobility. Okay, very simple thing. Let us take a look at its definition. Mobility is the easiness with which the electrons are drifted. Now the question is, here you can see V is denoted as Vd. Vd is nothing but drift velocity. Okay, once the electric field is applied and electrons finally move with a drift velocity, of course the obstructions will be there, obstacles will be there in the path of the electron. Okay, now more the obstructions, less is the mobility of the electron. Less is the obstruction, more is the mobility. Very simple thing. From the expression itself, Vd is equal to minus E tau by Me. This implies Vd is equal to this factor. This is called mobility. Okay, mu. Sorry, big mistake. It is minus E tau E by M E tau by me. Now mu is the mobility, this factor is called mobility into E. Okay, this is the relationship. Okay, this is mobility. Okay, actually mu value I have shown here that E tau by me. This negative sign actually does not bear any significance here, because we are concerned with the magnitude of drift velocity, with what velocity the electrons are actually moving. So negative sign only indicates its direction, it has nothing to do with its magnitude. That's why mu value is simply E tau by me mod. Okay, got this? Okay, here you can see mu is E tau by m. Okay, alternatively from the above expression Vd is equal to E tau by m, so this is equal to mu E, mu is equal to mod Vd by E. Mod means magnitude only, so Vd by E, this is the expression for mu. Next topic is limitations of Ohm's law. What are the limitations of Ohm's law? We have already seen that Ohm's law says I is proportional to V. That means I is equal to V by R, whatever this relationship is linear or not. Linear means their characteristic curve will be always straight line, but this is not always the same. It varies from material to material. How? You look, here is one limitation. V is not proportional to I in every case. Okay, for example, suppose in a conductor voltage is applied plus minus V and current is already flowing I, its resistance is R. Okay, we can write this relationship as V is equal to IR. Okay, now if you increase the voltage, current will also increase. Okay, if current increases, the heat produced by the current, you will study later, the current, if current increases, the heater also increases. If heat increases, the temperature increases. If temperature increases, the resistance also increases in case of conductors. If resistance increases, then this relationship does not hold true anymore, because R is taken as constant here, and once temperature rises, R also rises. That's why we cannot consider this relation to be true anymore. That's why it will deviate from its linearity and it may go here or there, whatever. Okay, but it will not be linear after a certain value. Okay, so this is one limitation. Let us consider second limitation. This is a very, very interesting characteristic you will study in the last chapter, semiconductor chapter. If current magnitude is dependent on the sign of V, as in case of diode. You look, diode is a device, you will study obviously in the last chapter, the diode is a device. It changes both direction and magnitude according its polarity. Polarity means on which terminal, which okay, I'll show you on the figure. This is the diode. Okay, these are the terminals. If voltage is applied like this is voltage plus minus, diode will show some characteristic, but if voltage is applied like this, positive or negative, it will show some other characteristic, as in this figure. You can see it. When voltage is positive, current varies with respect to voltage like this. If voltage is negative, current varies like this with respect to voltage. Okay, you can see here one characteristic for positive voltage, another characteristic for negative voltage. Very large difference. Okay, in both these cases current is not linear, nor here nor here. Of course, after certain value of current it almost changes linearly with respect to voltage. Of course, we are going to discuss it in the last chapter. Leave it for that chapter. Only you can see from this characteristic that nowhere the characteristic curve shows a linear characteristic. Okay, so this is another limitation. So Ohm's law does not hold good in this case. Diode is another exception. The third limitation is if the relation between V and I is not unique, that is, there is more than one value of V for the same current I, as in case of gallium arsenide. Gallium arsenide is a diode obviously, but you cannot understand what gallium arsenide is right now. Okay, it is the mixture of gallium and arsenic, which is a semiconductor from which a diode is made, whose characteristic is like this. You can see here the curve goes from here to here and again like this. You can see current is having the values here, both having the same value but different voltages. At different values of voltages, same current is flowing. Okay, that means the relationship is not unique here. Unique means one-to-one relationship. One voltage should have one current only, but here two voltages are having one current. Okay, in this region also you can see voltage increases but current decreases. That means negative resistance. Okay, this is a typical non-linear characteristic of diode. Okay, here also Ohm's law does not hold. So this is all about for this class. Okay, if any doubt you can ask me. Thank you.